Hello students, welcome back to our third lecture of the chapter Solid, Liquid and Gases. Me, Shashwati ma'am is back with your almost completed chapter, the solid, liquid, gas, and I am actually expecting to end it today. So let's begin first, then we will decide it will end it or maybe some leftover will be there. So we have studied a lot about this state of matter and also the melting boiling point, evaporation, condensation, this kind of thing. And we already started the topic solution and already seen some videos on this topic as well. Today we are going to talk about some more separation techniques. And let's just start with our next topic. Sorry about the delay. So back to the action. Ready to begin again? I guess everyone is already uh, in the mood of study. So first we will learn today, first we will start with the topic that is miscible and immiscible liquids. So what is miscible and immiscible liquid? They sounds like opposite, right? Miscible and immiscible, exactly. They are actually opposite. So let's learn about it. What is miscible liquid? Liquid that mix completely with each other to form a single uniform solution. So we can talk like two kind of liquid which actually mixing with each other to form a single uniform, like एक साथ जैसा होता है ना, ये दोनों मिलके यूनिफॉर्म लाइक दोनों का जो बैलेंस है वो एकदम इक्विलिब्रियम पे है, ऐसा कुछ सोल्यूशन बनाता है. लाइक वाटर एंड मिल्क और वाटर और विनेगर, दे आर एक्चुअली मेकिंग what kind of miscible liquid. Okay, next is immiscible liquid. Liquid that do not mix completely and form separate layers. Like there is two kind of liquid, and if we mix them together, there is two layer. Like first one liquid or maybe the second type of liquid we are mixing. Let's just name it. The first one is water and second one is oil. Then we can see, we will see that there is two separate layer. Like the particular liquid is in the bottom of the jar and the another one is above it. Like they are not mixing together, they are separated in that mixing condition as well, because they have some different property, they retain some different property, like water and oil, as I already told you, and kerosene and water. We can see that too. Next is soluble and insoluble substances. What is soluble substance? A substance that get dissolved completely in a liquid is called soluble substance. ऐसा कुछ solution है जो कोई substance है जो एकदम से एकदम ऐसा mix हो जाए कि समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है कि यहाँ पे और कोई substance था भी, ऐसा कुछ है. So then we can call it a soluble substance. Salt, honey or coffee are soluble in water. Salt, honey, coffee, all of them actually mixed so well that we can't even separate them. Like we can say that there is different kind of solution, but there is a thing, like salt is white and it will mix and like there is it mix so well that we can see any other color. You can do that in your home, like real life experiment maybe, but in case of coffee we can see the color and from that we can separate. Like if we talk about like black coffee, then we can say that there is another substance by looking at the color. But in case of salt, we can say that, but in case of honey, there is some yellowish tinge in that particular solution. So in case of honey, we can say that maybe we can say that it is honey, but we can say that there is another substance in the water. But in case of salt, we can't say that. Okay. Next is insoluble substance. A substance that does not dissolve in liquid is called insoluble substance. ऐसा कोई substance जो actually solution का जो मतलब जो water और something जो liquid substance है और जिसके साथ mix कर रहे हो उसके साथ अगर नहीं मिले, like अगर soluble ना होए, तो we can say that it is insoluble substance. Like tea leaves, Paper powder or wax is insoluble in water. Okay. Next is we will going to watch a video on separation technique. Let's watch the video first, then we will continue with our lecture. Okay. So till now we have already studied about immiscible and miscible liquids and then soluble and insoluble solution. Next we are going to learn about some separation method because that solution topic is almost completed. Now we are going to those separation topics which actually separating the solution of different kind of substances which can mixed up and made a solution, and we are going to separate this kind of substances. So let's watch this video first, then we will talk about it again. Okay. Give me a second, there is no sound I can see here.
We have separated quite a few types of mixtures so far. Let us now see how we can separate two immiscible liquids. What do we mean by immiscible? These liquids do not form a homogeneous mixture when mixed together. We can see two distinct layers when they are mixed. So how can we separate these two liquids? For this, we have a special apparatus called a separation funnel. What do you think this funnel does? Look at the funnel closely. It is a cone-shaped instrument made from glass. It has a stopper at the top to close the mouth of the funnel, and there is a tap or a stopcock at the bottom. When it's opened, the liquid will flow out, and when closed, it will stop flowing. Now we will pour a mixture of oil and water in this funnel. Now close this end with a stopper and make sure the tap is closed. Shake the funnel so that the two liquids mix and reach a state of equilibrium. Use a retort stand to place the funnel and let it rest for a while. What do we notice? After some time, the two liquids must have formed two distinct layers. Oil being the one with the lower density will float on water which has formed a layer at the bottom. You should be able to guess what we will do next. We open the tap while holding the beaker and slowly let the water move out. Make sure to close the tap when you see the last of the water moving out. Now take another beaker and repeat the process for the oil. Here we have both the liquids separated in no time. This process was pretty easy and is mainly used for liquids which are immiscible. But what about liquids which are miscible? Liquids that mix with each other to form a homogeneous solution. We use a process called as distillation to separate two miscible liquids, which we will understand in the next video.
So here is a video about separation technique in miscible and immiscible liquids. We have already seen the whole video. Now let's get back to our lecture. That is separation. We have already seen it. Let's learn about it in detail in theoretically. What is separation of liquid from insoluble solid? Insoluble solid can be separated from the liquid by two methods. There is two methods. First is sedimentation followed by decantation. There is a technique which actually followed by two different techniques. First one is sedimentation, and then after that we have to do what? Decantation. And then second one is filtration. It's a single technique, and if we want to separate it, we can do it by a single technique or single procedure. But here is a two kind of technique which also have their own steps as well, like sedimentation, the first process, and second one is decantation, followed by this sedimentation. Okay. So what is exactly sedimentation and decantation is? This method of separation solid is based on the size of the solute particle in a solution. Here you can see that the mud particle eventually settle down at the bottom. That is sedimentation technique. Like if you have a bowl of water, or maybe you taken a water in a particular beaker, like a muddy water, okay, mud, like there is a lots of mud mixed with it, and then you put it for some hours or something, then you can see that all the mud or all the muddy part, all this kind of soil substances will be sedimented or settle down at the lower part of it, and the above part there will be a clear water or clear whatever the liquid there is, most likely water, because we have like if we are talking about muddy water, then definitely there is water there, where we will find different kind of liquid from that. Like then here you can see the water, and here you can see the muddy part or mud. Then here at the bottom we can see that, you can see that as well. And then what is decantation? The mud particle is left in the beaker and the water will be taken out from that beaker to different beaker, like, and we will call it decanted water. Like we are just taking out the water from a particular beaker, so in one beaker there is a mud and another beaker there is a crystal clear water. Okay, so there is two steps in this process, and the process of setting down heavy and insoluble solid particle in a solution in the bottom of the beaker and the clear liquid left behind is called sedimentation. ये जो मड एरिया और जो थोड़ा बहुत मिट्टी है वो नीचे नीचे एकदम सेटल डाउन हो जाना एवं ऊपर ओनली एंड ओनली वाटर रह जाना, दिस इज एक्चुअली कॉल्ड सेडिमेंटेशन. एंड द सेटल सॉलिड पार्टिकल आर कॉल्ड सेडिमेंट. जो पार्टिकल सेटल डाउन हुआ है, लाइक जो सॉइल सब्सटेंसेस है जो सेटल डाउन हुआ है यहाँ पे, दैट्स एक्चुअली कॉल्ड सेडिमेंट. Okay, that's very important about like questions for your exam, because they can ask you like what's the substances which already settled down in the bottom of that beaker in case of sedimentation process. Okay, the process of removing the clear water after the solid has settled down is called decantation. This is also very important, and actually the whole technique is very important, because this is a technique which is actually followed by two different techniques, or we are using two different techniques to separate out two different substance. Okay, otherwise there is another technique or something which will in a particular a single technique which have more like steps in different steps, but they are actually called a signal technique, and by that we can actually separate a two different substance. Okay, there is a video about sedimentation and decantation as well. So let's watch this video, and after that we will continue with our studies. Let's watch this video first, then we will continue with our next separation technique, that is filtration. Okay?
We all know the importance of clean and pure drinking water. Zara, Zen, and Ziva were about to perform an interesting experiment in the laboratory with the help of the teacher. They were given a task of separating mud from water. Is this possible? The teacher said there are basically many ways to separate mud and water. They were supposed to use the simplest methods among all. What could we do to separate mud and water? Can you guess what the three would have done? Let me give you a hint. Think about what will happen if you allow the glass of muddy water to sit still for a long period of time. The force of gravity comes into play. It helps the heavier soil particles settle at the bottom of the glass, and thus water forms the top layer. Don't you think this is a simple trick to separate the two? That's exactly what the three kids did. Each one allowed their beakers of muddy water to stand still for a long time. When they returned, all the three beakers had mud settled at the bottom. The teacher explained that this process by which the solid, heavier particles settle at the bottom of the container, allowing the liquid to be on top, is called sedimentation. Sedimentation helps to separate the particles dissolved in water of any liquid for that matter. Now the two layers need to be separated, right? So they tilted the beaker slightly to collect the separated water. This step in which the water or the liquid on top is gradually removed to separate the two layers is called as decantation. In other words, separating the two layers, one settled at the bottom and the other on top, is the decantation process. So after decantation, the three were all set to show the sample of water separated from mud to their teacher. But look, the three kids found that water was still slightly muddy. It was not completely clean as they expected it to be. Now what could be done? How can the fine impurities present in the water be removed? The process of filtration came to the rescue of these kids. Next, we will see how this technique helped them obtain clean water.
So we have seen how sedimentation and decantation actually occurred here, and then we have also like there is a question like how that kid will separate that slightly muddy water and put that mud out of that water. Okay, so here comes, just like they say in the slide, like here comes the another process, that is filtration. How it works? Let's look at this process like diagram. You can see here that there is a glass funnel in which, suppose that kids are doing experiment, right? So they have a beaker of water which is slightly, there is kind of slight mud in it. Okay, so think about it. This is the water, and like they have already take a funnel, and then in between this thing there is a filter paper they already put it here, and then there is a clamp stand which actually holding this thing, and under that there is also another beaker which is actually collecting the filtrate. What is filtrate? Filtrate is basically the filtered water which have no mud in it. Okay, so here they are putting that water inside it, and with the help of this filter paper, this water is actually filtered, and the solid residue is actually stuck here, like the mud is actually stuck here, and the water is like the pure water, filtered water is already taken into this beaker. Okay, so let's go through this process. The process of removing insoluble, that is unwanted substances from the liquid by passing the mixture through a filter is called filtration. Like आपके पास जो लिक्विड है जो पूरा का पूरा एकदम फिल्टर्ड नहीं है, उसको फिल्टर करने के लिए क्या करना है? आपको फिल्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस का हेल्प लेना है. अभी फिल्ट्रेशन प्रोसेस के हेल्प कैसे ले? एक फनल ले लिया, एक बीकर ले लिया, then we have taken a filter paper, a clamp, and then set it like that, and then if we put that muddy water in it or maybe some another solution in it to filter that solution, then we can find the filtrate or pure water, like water or maybe the liquid in it, and the solid residue will be stored here. Like that we can actually separate solid and liquid. Okay, a filter can be filter paper, a muslin cloth, or a strainer, or a sieve, or a layer of sand. Like here is some kind of example of what kind of filter we can use. Okay, so here you can see that as a filter we can take filter paper, a muslin cloth. Muslin cloth is what? There is some kind of clothes is found in all over India and some Bangladesh, and also particularly you must have sound like we all actually know about muslin, like muslin sari, like our mother may have or may not, mostly have this kind of sari. This is very famous kind of sari. Actually, this sari is made from this kind of muslin coat. This is absolutely finest, and there is also a proverb that we can put a whole muslin sari in a matchbox. Like that kind of finest texture we can get from muslin. So we can take muslin cloth as well for this filtrate or for this filter, and a stainer or a sieve or a layer of sand can also be used as a filter. Okay. Next is the insoluble solution substance which is left behind on the filter is called the residue. This is also a very important question, that the left out substance on the filter paper, we can call it what? Like you can get multiple choice question as well as the like fill in the blanks kind of questions, or maybe ask short questions on this matter, that what exactly this thing called. This is called residue. And the clear water or the liquid is called filtrate. Okay. Let's not like mingle up with this filter and filtrate, this kind of thing. The thing we are getting from here, so we can call it filtrate. Okay. Let's go to our next topic, our next slide, that is mastery. Right. There is also a video about the filtration. I think you all are very eager to know it. So let's first watch this video, and then we are going to learn about the separation of liquid from soluble solid. Okay. Let's first watch this filtration technique. Let's watch it.
Zara, Zen, and Zika are in the middle of their experiment. They are meant to separate mud so they can have clean water. They have already successfully separated a lot of mud from the water, but the water still contains a lot of soil particles. These extremely fine impurities won't get separated with the dual process of sedimentation and decantation as it did previously. Sedimentation is allowing the heavier particles to settle down, and decantation is carefully removing the top layer of water. So the kids are stuck with the slightly muddy water. It is not completely clean as they expected it to be. So what now? How can the fine impurities present in the water be removed? When the three were tensed as to how to complete the task, Zen suddenly had an idea. He thought of filtering the water. What is filtration? It is simply a process of separating the solid particles from the liquid mixture using a porous separating material. We have seen mom using the tea strainer to separate leaves from the tea. Maybe that would work. So the three thought of experimenting with Zen's water sample. However, on filtering it with the help of a tea strainer, nothing really changed. It still had the fine impurities in it. Maybe because the strainer had pores which were too large to separate the fine particles. That resulted in the soil particles escaping through the pores and remaining mixed in the water. So what now? They thought of filtering Zara's water sample with a cloth. Because the cloth has pores smaller than the tea strainer. On filtering the sample with cloth, they found that the water was definitely cleaner than before, but it still had some impurities. That means the cloth was able to separate the soil particles and water, but not completely. Now the kids were stuck with impure water. The teacher returned and looked at the situation, and she guided them with a simple solution. She handed them a few pieces of papers which had never been seen. The teacher called these papers filter papers. Are they specially designed for filtration process? Yes, they are. Filter papers usually have pores which are extremely small compared to the other filtering materials used. As a result, they are able to filter out fine substances through solutions. Now the last water sample was filtered using the filter papers, and to their surprise, the water was filtered and very clean. The assignment was completed. This is how various methods like sedimentation, decantation, and filtration can be employed for separating the solid particles present in a liquid. main methods? No, there are a few more. Let's have a look at these in the upcoming videos.
Here we have completed the separation technique as well, just like sedimentation and decantation. And next we are going to learn about our next topic, that is separation of liquid from solute. So separation of liquid from soluble solids. Okay. So let's start with this topic. The soluble solid can be separated from the liquid by two methods. First one is boiling and second one is distillation. Okay. Let's learn this topic in detail. First one is boiling. We have already watched the video of boiling in our previous video. So do watch that as well. Boiling is a process in which the solution containing soluble solid such as salt or sugar is heated till the water evaporates, leaving the solid behind. Like we are boiling this thing, and then until that salt or sugar is heated till the water evaporates, like the whole water is actually evaporating and the solid substance is actually left out in that particular pan or something. Okay. So here is a video of distillation, but first we will learn about the distillation process. After that we will watch this video. Distillation is a process of removing soluble solid from the liquid by first boiling it, then condensing its vapors. Okay. So here you can see there is a thermometer here which is fractionating column here, and here is a burner which is actually heating this thing, and here you can see water out condenser is here. Okay. Next, what is this distillation? In this process, water with soluble solid is heated in a distillation flask. Okay. Next, on the heating, the steam or the vapor start forming and the soluble solids are left behind. The steam then reaches the condenser which cools it down. Here, the steam starts condensing into water which can be collected in a beaker placed close to the condenser, and the method is used to obtain pure water from the tap water or seawater. The pure water so obtained is called distilled water. Last में हमको जो मिल रहा है, जो water मिल रहा है, that is actually called what? Distilled water. So let's watch the video first, so we will get a clear concept about what exactly I am trying to teach. Okay. So let's watch the video first, then we will talk about it.
We use the process of separation to separate two immiscible liquids. There are liquids that do not form a homogeneous mixture when mixed together. And to separate two miscible liquids, we use the process of distillation, which we will see in this video. Miscible liquids are liquids when mixed together do not form distinct layers. What happens in this process? For that, we must first see the apparatus. This apparatus has three distinct parts. The first one is the distillation flask, which is held by a clamp. It is placed on a stand and the flask is fitted with a thermometer. The second part of this apparatus is a tube that passes through the condenser and is tilted downwards. The third part of this apparatus is the beaker into which the end of the tube opens up. Let us look at how the condenser works. Can you spot the two openings on the condenser on the opposite sides? At this end, cold water enters in, and this end serves as an exit point for this water. You will soon understand how this helps us. How does this apparatus work? Assume we have a mixture of water and acetone. You can't see the two different layers of the liquids, can you? We cannot separate these two liquids as they have formed a homogeneous solution. They are miscible liquids. When this mixture is placed in the distillation flask and is heated, acetone vaporizes first. Why does that happen? The boiling point of acetone is around 56 degrees Celsius and is far lower than that of water, which is 100 degrees Celsius. The vaporized acetone will move through the tube but will be condensed due to the condenser. The liquid collected in the beaker will be pure acetone. What about the liquid left behind in the distillation flask? What is that? That is the remnant liquid or water, which was the second component of the mixture. There's a very simple way to understand this concept. At this stage, the change is from liquid to gaseous state, and in this section, the change is from the gaseous back to the liquid state. Liquid to gas, if you remember, is vaporization, and gas to liquid is condensation. This process of liquid to gas and back to liquid happens when acetone first, as its boiling point is much lower than that of water. Whichever liquid's boiling point is lower will get vaporized first. Hence, it is evident that the two liquids which are visible can be separated by distillation. However, the difference in their boiling points must be substantial. What if two substances that have been mixed together have very close boiling points? How would I separate these two substances then? Will the same method be useful? No, distillation cannot be used for such mixtures. To know which method can be used, you watch our next video.
So we have already completed the solution as well as the separation topics of this kind of solution. Next, you have in your chapter is air. We will let's just go through this and then we will discuss a little bit of air. Like there is a very short introduction of air topic in your syllabus. There must be some people who have a whole chapter of air as well. We will do that video as well. Let's just keep watching when we will do that. Okay, most likely we are going to do that video very soon. Let's first start with this, like a little bit portion which you already have or included in this chapter, like air, no more, like a little bit of it. Air is present all around us and it's a mixture of different gases such as nitrogen, that is 78%, oxygen 21%, carbon dioxide present in 0.03%, argon and helium in 0.93%, and beside this it also contains water vapor, smoke and dust particle. Like we have air, but there is different kind of gases and different kind of dust and water vapor mixture in it. Like it is actually a mixed matter. Okay, like gas we have already discussed about it. Then the blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called atmosphere. Like the blanket, we can call it a blanket. Like there is air all around us and this is actually covering us like a blanket in winter, right? So we can call it atmosphere, or we term it as atmosphere, the blanket around us, the blanket of air around us. Okay, नेक्स्ट इज प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ एयर. एयर का क्या क्या प्रॉपर्टी है? The properties of air are given below, that is it occupies space. Definitely it's occupying space. If you have air around you or around us, then this thing already like occupies some space, right? Like this is absolutely common sense. Like we maybe can't see it in our eyes, but maybe you can imagine, like uh, if we do that thing, we can feel it. So that thing must be occupying some space. That's why if we are actually invading our hand in that thing's place, that's why we can feel like cold air, like that. Right now I am feeling actually cold air, winter is coming, right? It has weight. it is needed for burning. Another very important property of air is that the hot air is lighter than cold air. This is a very important line which can be asked in your exam. That is, which type of air actually hot? Sorry, light. Like hot air is actually lighter than the cold air. This is a very important point. And the property of air lead to the formation of wind and make the wind blow. This is also very important. Okay. Next is formation of wind. How wind form? You guys must have some idea, or if you don't, let's just discuss it. Let me discuss it with you. We cannot see air, but we can feel it when it moves. Like if there is a storm outside, or maybe we are just moving our hand, we can feel it, right? Next is, this moving air is called wind. This kind of moving air, like we are saying that wind is blowing around us, or maybe in kind of storm, or maybe some हम लोग usually बोलते हैं ना बाहर बहुत हवा चल रहा है. This is what actually the wind blowing. Okay, when the wind blows gently, it is called breeze. There is soothing kind of feeling when that breeze, we can go through this breeze or something like समर सीजन है, समर सीजन की शाम को इवनिंग को एक हल्का हल्का हवा बहता है ना, वो वी कैन कॉल इट ब्रीज. एंड व्हेन द विंड blows strongly it's called a gale. When the wind blows very strongly along with rain, we can call it storm. Okay, so we usually like face a lot of storms. Like if we talk about summer, we can say that we usually call it Kalboishak in Bengali in case of West Bengal. Okay. Let me know what you exactly call that kind of summer storm or something in the comment section. I really love to know about what exactly your state version of it. Okay. So please let me know in the comment section what exactly call it in your area. Okay. Next, let's study how the wind blow. Okay, the cold air, here is a wind, here is a warm air. Cold air and hot air. You can see that. Let's learn about it. When the sun shines brightly, it heats up the air in the ground, and as the air gets hot, it becomes lighter and start rising. Okay. Here you can see that here in the surface of the earth, if the earth is actually the sun is hitting that air, and when this air actually got hot, then it will rise up, like it will be lighter, right? So lighter thing will be go up. The cool heavier air becomes comes in cover the vacant space created by the hot air. Now what's happening here? Actually there is think about it. Let's just let's just make a sun. Okay, this may be not exactly how it looks. Just think about a kid is making. Okay, now this is what sun. If sun is hitting that surface, like the air surrounding this surface, actually the air got heated, and then it will get lighter, and then the hot air is actually going up, and there is vacant seat. Like think about it, if you are sitting somewhere and you just get up from your place, there are vacant seat now, so people will be come there and they must want to occupy that particular place, right? Just like that, when the hot air is actually going up, then cold air come here and they are saying like, I want to sit here, like that, right? So just like your classroom, he came like it came and say, he'd come and said like, I want to sit here, this is my spot now. Then what's happening? The cooler and heavier air come to cover the vacant space created by the hot air. In this way, the air moves from one place to another and result in blowing of winds. That's how wind is actually blowing. So we got the process of how wind is actually blowing. Next is land breeze and sea breeze. We have already heard about it, right? We all have heard about it, that there is a land breeze, there is a sea breeze, but we never like go through actual process, or maybe we didn't know how this thing is exactly happening, right? So let's learn about it a little. This difference in temperature gives rise to sea breeze during the daytime and land breeze during the night time. This is a very important thing that you have to remember. What you have to remember, that which one is blowing in which time. Like the sea breeze is actually during the daytime, whereas we can call it like land breeze is during the night time. So land is actually in the night time and the sea breeze is actually daytime. Okay. So let's just start with our sea breeze. That is, during the daytime, the land gets heated faster by the sun than the water in the sea. This is a very common thing, like a very basic sense. Like the air around this land zone is actually heated by the sun. You may ask, the sea is not heated, ma'am. Definitely get heated, but the area here, the terrestrial, is actually heated more by the sun. As the land becomes warmer, it heats up the air above it. Okay. So basically, when that warm, like heated air is here, we have already learned how winds blow. Like air is getting hot somewhere, and then they are rising above or somewhere else. They are moving from that space, and that space is right now vacant, and that vacancy is filled by some cold air, right? Just like that, you can see that here is some warm wind, and this or warm air from the land is going towards the sea, and the cooler air from the sea is coming here, like coming back to that place, or maybe they are occupying that particular vacant place which is actually left by those warm air from the land, which is already moved towards the sea. Okay. Next is sea breeze. Let's just have some points, go through some points. Since the warmer air is lighter, it rises. We already know that the cool air from the sea rushes into the land to take its place. Definitely, we have already discussed this. Hence, the wind blows from the sea towards the land during the daytime. This is a very important fact, that in which way actually the wind is actually blowing. Like in the daytime, the wind is actually blowing from sea towards the land. Okay. Next is this blowing of wind from the sea towards the land during this time is called sea breeze. Like the wind is actually coming from the sea, so we can say that it is sea breeze. Okay. Next is land breeze. Here you can see the picture. Here we are very clear about this from this picture, that warmer air is coming from the sea and cooler air is actually going from the land towards the sea. So what is land breeze? During the night time, the land cools down faster than the sea. Okay. Next, the air above the sea is warmer at the night, so it rises. Now, in case of night time, the land surface or the terrestrial surface already cooled down, and here the sea, that water is actually like more warm at that time maybe, but after that they take more time rather than that land surface to cool down. Okay, so here the warmer air is actually coming from the sea and cooler air from the land. Okay. So if we talk about land breeze, now the cool air from the land rushes towards the sea to fill the space, just like we are seeing that the sea breeze is actually coming from the sea and the cool air and like filling that vacant place in the land. Just like that, the cool air from the land is actually filling the vacant space in the sea. Hence, the wind blows from the land towards the sea during the night time, and the blowing of wind from the land towards the sea during the night time is called land breeze. Like the air is going towards the sea to occupy that vacant space is called the land breeze. Like it's going from the land towards the sea, so it's called land breeze. Just like the air from the sea is coming, like the cool air coming from like sea to like occupy the space in the land is actually called sea breeze. The cool and from sea, that's why it's sea breeze. And now the land and also the cool, that is the land breeze. Okay, and also the first one is the daytime and second one is in the night time. Okay. Next is monsoon wind. This is very much prevalent in our West Bengal as well as the coastal areas. You can see here is the West Bengal, and we are very much affected. Like monsoon is very much important for us as well. Like any coastal area, you can see in case of West Bengal, India, but in some like middle part or something, there is also some importance of that as well. So monsoon in the summer season, the air above the land becomes very hot and risen up. The wind from the different seas, such as the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and Indian Ocean, rushes towards the land to take the place of the hot air. What's happening here? The land surface, there is a land surface like in the sides of the terrestrial area. In the side of here is the Arabian Sea, right? Here is the Bay of Bengal, and here is the Indian Ocean. Okay, so the cold air is actually coming from the sea, from different sea like Bay of Bengal towards this West Bengal and Orissa coast, and from Arabian Sea towards the Maharashtra, Karnataka, this kind of area, like the South India we can call, more like Tamil Nadu and all. Here you can see the different, and also from Indian Ocean as well, the air is coming, the cool air is actually coming and filling that backwind spot. Okay. Next, monsoon wind, since these winds are coming from the sea, so they are laden with water and brings rain to all parts of the India. Such winds are called monsoon wind or sometimes monsoon breezes. The land near the sea receive the monsoon wind sooner than the land away from the sea. That's very definite. Like the areas which are actually close to sea, like coastal areas, actually get very fast, or maybe they get the thing or feel the thing rather than those who are living away from that part. Like if you are living a particular thing and you ordered something and you are living very close, the thing will be delivered to you first rather than someone living 10 kilometers away, right? Just like that, the coastal region will get the monsoon wind, the essence of monsoon wind first, the rainfall first, rather than someone who is living actually in the middle of India. Okay. Next is ventilator and chimneys. What exactly that thing is important for us? You must have observed an exhaust fan, chimney or ventilator placed close to the ceiling of our house. Definitely, we all have that in our house. Have you ever wondered why they place close to the ceiling? Why this ventilator is actually close to the ceiling is a very important question, and you have to learn it. What is? We have learned that hot air rises and cool air comes to take its place. The hot air in the kitchen and the warmer air we breathe out bring lighter and riser towards the ceiling of the room. Definitely, that hot air is actually going upwards, right? And the exhaust fan or ventilator placed close to the ceiling helps in removing that hot air. Like they are actually going upwards and they are taking that from there and they will take it out from your house. Okay. Once the hot air is removed, the kitchen or the rooms and the cool and fresh air comes in through the doors and windows to replace it. Okay. Okay, here is something that we have already learned a lot of things till now. Let's just have some questions. Following some question, we will like can get the knowledge that how much you actually learned. Like there is already 3 lectures we have. I am recommending you to see that, but it's okay. If you feel like, please do watch that. It's important. Okay. Which of the following is solid? This is very easy, right? Water, air, ice or juice. We all know that the ice is the answer. Okay. Next, the liquid take the shape of their what? Bottle, container, room and hand. Definitely liquid container, shape of container, but liquid take the shape of their container. Maybe if we put the liquid in bottle, that will take the shape of bottle as well, right? But room and hands are not the option. Okay, so here both of them are actually right. Which of these is an example of gases? Rock, water, oxygen and milk. This is very easy, like we breathe with oxygen, right? So this is the answer. Okay. Which of the following is not a property of solid? They have a fixed shape, they have a fixed volume, they can be poured like liquid and they do not flow. Which one? sorry, they can be poured like liquid, okay, and they do not flow like definitely solid do not flow. Okay, the third one is the answer. Next, which state of matter can flow and spread out to fill the space? Solid, liquid, gas, and B and C. Tell me the answer. B and C, like liquid and gas, both can flow towards the vacant place, right? Like if we talk about the sea and land breeze, the gas is an example, like the and if we talk about liquid, do one thing. There is a vacant bottle, like which is actually connected. There is a two tubes which is connected. One have water and another don't have. Now connect it, and you will see that the vacant bottle is actually filled by that connecting pipe, like that another tube is actually taking water from there and filling the another bottle that is vacant from taking the water from the poured bottle. Okay, so that's all about today, and we have completed the chapter solid, liquid, and gases in a very detailed manner. And now I am expecting you to ask me any kind of question you have doubt in it. Like you can ask any question in comment section, and do watch all three videos to get a proper and complete compact concept. Thank you. Bye for today.